Good morning everyone, welcome to part 4 of Travel Junctions episode 8. Roll the titles. My name is Daniel and in this program I'm taking you on a journey. So, welcome to Travel Junctions. Right, for episode 8, part 4, we are visiting Bath, which means we're going through the Severn Tunnel for the second time in this episode. Today's train plan, we're going to go down to Cardiff Central soon and get the 9:30 Great Western Railway service to Portsmouth Harbour. Take in that one as far as Bath Spa. They're called Bath Spa. The station Bath Spa. That one calls at Newport, Severn Tunnel Junction, Felton Abbey Wood, Bristol Temple Meads and Bath Spa. We're due to Bath Spa for 10:34. And while we're in Bath Spa, we're going to jump on the city sightseeing tour buses again. We did it in part 1, so we're going to do it in this one. So that's what we're going to do. That's the main focus, is Bath in this one. Hopefully I'll add a bit more scenery, and we're going through the Severn Tunnel as well, which is a lovely tunnel. I like the Severn Tunnel. And then at the end of this part I'll explain what's coming up in the final part of episode 8. I'll see you down at Cardiff Central.
Right everyone, the train we are catching to Bath is that one there. That is 158 950. It's just going to go to the sidings there and there'll be our train. 0930 service to Portsmouth Harbour, taking that as far as Bath, calling at Newport, Severn Tunnel Junction, Felton Abbey Wood, Bristol Temple Meads and Bath. That'll be our train to Bath.
This is 158 950 operating the 9:30 Great Western Railway service to Portsmouth Harbour. We'll be taking them as far as Bath, Spa, calling at Newport, Severn Tunnel Junction, Felton Abbey Wood, Bristol Temple Meads and Bath.
Next station is Newport. This is a Great Western Railway service to Portsmouth Harbour.
We are now leaving Cardiff Central.
are now running between Newport and Severn Tunnel Junction. We are now leaving Severn Tunnel Junction. The next stop is Thurday Abbey Wood. Now we're about to pass through the Severn Tunnel.
The next station is Thurday Abbey Wood. This is a Great Western Railway service to Portsmouth Harbour.
I'm going to work there last week. Well, soon. I need to finish my TBS check with the school then because I want to do my EGC after I graduate. So he said that I could go there and work because I'm only in 3 days a week this year. Right. So my days off and work because there's a train that goes straight from Cadiz Barrier and then so that would be nice. How's Donna? Good. Actually, Mum met up with her recently. She hadn't seen it for quite a while. But they both met up and she says that she's happy they did because she's sort of all settled down now. But no, yeah, she's.
between Fountain Abbey Wood and Bristol Temple Meads. Bristol Temple Meads.
This is Bristol Temple Meads. Do not try to board or leave the train when the doors are closing. This is a Great Western Railway service to Portsmouth Harbour. We'll be calling at Bath Spa, Bradford-on-Avon, Trowbridge, Westbury, Warminster, Salisbury, Romsey, Southampton Central, Fareham, Cosham, Bratton, Portsmouth and Southsea, and Portsmouth Harbour. This is a security message.
We are now in Bristol Temple Mead. The next stop is Bath Spa.
The next station is Bath Spa. This is a Great Western Railway service to Portsmouth Harbour.
shortly be arriving at Bath.
We're now on the city sightseeing. There's 2 tours in Bath you can do. You can do the city tour, you can do the Skylink tour. That's what we're doing, the Skylink tour. We've already done the city tour. They cost 15 quid, and that's for both of them. And the tickets are valid for 24 hours. So in this episode we went on the Cardiff one in part 1, now we're doing the Bath one.
Quiet street that's very noisy, and cheap street that's very expensive. And Broad Street, that's the narrowest street in Bath. And Gay Street, that's straight as far as I know, and this is North Road here that heads south. And to your right now you can see Valore House, which was built in 1838 for General Augusta Andrews, now part of the luxury Bath Spa Hotel. And to your left now you can see the King Edward School building. They moved here in 1966, but the school was actually built in Bath as early on as 1552 by King Edward VI, the son of King Henry VIII. And the comedian and actor Bill Bailey went through that school. And to your right now you can see a view over Bath. And in the centre there you can see the Abbey Church, and see the spires of St John the Evangelist and St Michael's Without. And to the rear of the view you can see South Bath, and in the far distance are the Cotswold Hills. And to the right there you can see Lansdowne Hill. And towards the top of the hill is a crescent, that's Camden Crescent, which is actually 2/3 of a crescent. The centre, the pediment in the centre, the triangular pediment's in the wrong place. And the reason for that is because not long after it was built, it was in 1788, there was a landslide and 1/3 of the crescent fell down the hill. And at the top of the hill is Lansdowne Racecourse, which in 1643 was the site of one of the main battles of the English Civil War. The Royalists were originally winning that battle, but they captured a lot of prisoners and also barrels of gunpowder. One of the prisoners lit his pipe and caused an explosion with the gunpowder, and the whole of Bath here was plunged into complete darkness for 15 minutes with all the black gunpowder smoke. The Royalists then retreated back to Devizes to fight another day. During the English Civil War, the Royalists, who supported the King and the parliamentarians, they would attend, they were both members of the corporation in Bath, and they would attend council meetings as normal, dressed up in their uniforms, and then they'd go off and blow each other's heads off. And coming up on your right now, you'll see the village of Widcombe. And behind it, some of this beautiful countryside here all belongs to the National Trust. And coming up on your right, you'll see Prior Park Manor House, which was Ralph Allen's manor house. Ralph Allen is quarried all of the stone in Bath, but he was also famous for the major improvements that he made to the postal system in this country. You can see across the valley, Prior Park. To your right now you can see a new house. The reason I'm showing that, you may notice how white and pale the stone colour is. That's how Bath stone looks when it's first used. And it's how Bath would look when it was very first built. And the writer Jane Austen complained about the glare of the buildings that were so dazzlingly white. But over a period of time the stone colour gradually mellows down to the lovely honey colour that you see. And across the valley to your right, you can see the small Coombe Wood now coming into its beautiful autumn colour. It was carved out of the chalk face in 878 to commemorate King Alfred's victory over the Danes. You can spot it now. And it was recarved in 1788 by a chap called Mr. George G. But the original horse wasn't horse-like enough. I suppose being Mr. G.G. felt he was an authority on horses. Now below our feet there's a network of underground stone mines which belonged to Ralph Allen in the 18th century, and it's estimated that 750,000 tons of stone was quarried here by Ralph Allen to build the Georgian city of Bath. We were actually restricted from coming along here for 2 years because this whole area here was seriously threatened with subsidence. A survey was done in 1994 and it was found that some of the houses were as little as 2 metres above the old stone mines, and one day a couple of surveyors were standing in one of these stone mines and they could hear this whirring noise and they couldn't work out what on earth it was, and it turned out to be the sound of the washing machine of the house above them. So 150 Welsh coal miners were brought to Bath to fill up these old mines with reinforced concrete foam, all except for one mine shaft which was propped up with steel girders, and the reason why that wasn't filled in is because it's full of hundreds of different species of bats, and bats now are protected. Ralph Allen was a self-made man. He came from a poor Cornish family, and he arrived in the city in 1710 at the age of 17. He was so clever that by the age of 19 he was head postmaster in Bath, and he bought a lot of postal areas. He introduced a new system of delivery called the cross post system, which meant that the post crossed over from one postal road to another, and this meant the post went directly to its destination, and it saved everybody a lot of time and money. It made Ralph Allen a fortune, probably billions of pounds by today's standards. He used part of this money to buy the underground stone mines here in Coombe Down, and also to purchase the land at Prior Park to build his manor house and garden, which we'll see very shortly. There are lots of old pubs here in Coombe Down because stone mining was thirsty work. Some of these old pubs have got secret back rooms, and that's because on a Sunday, if the miners went drinking, the local vicar used to run from pub to pub, dragging them out, making them go to church. If they got wind of him coming, they'd disappear into this secret back room. Harry Patch, the last surviving Tommy of the First World War, was born and brought up here in Coombe Down. He died in 2006. Aged 111. And just to your left now, you'll see the Hadley Arms, lovely old pub. In the centre of the pub, there's a well right slap bang in the middle of the pub. Ralph Allen built a tramway running up and down this very steep hill here. It was one of the first railway lines to be built in this country, and stone was loaded onto carts and pushed down the tramway, and there'd be a strong man riding on the top of the cart called the brakesman, who would pull up the brakes at the bottom of the hill. The empty carts were brought back up again by horse. And on your right now, you'll see Prior Park Manor House, now Prior Park College, a Roman Catholic boarding school. Sadly, none of that is open to the public. The gardens, though, belong to the National Trust, and they are open to the public. And this is a stop for the National Trust landscape television programme Poldark. The gardens attached to Prior Park were neglected for 250 years until they were handed over to the National Trust in 1993, and the National Trust has been restoring them to their former glory ever since. Designed by Alexander Pope and capability ground. They've got lots of wonderful features, including a cascade and a summer house and a grotto and a serpentine lake. We've also got a garden Pelagian bridge, which is very special. It's one of only 4 garden Pelagian bridges in the world. It goes with Stowe, Wilton and St. Petersburg. Now following entertain all the famous and intelligent people of the day in his manor house, including the playwright Sheridan, the painter Gainsborough, and the Prime Minister William Pitt. It's also very friendly with the writer Henry Fielding. Henry Fielding based his character Squire Allworthy in his novel Tom Jones on Ralph Allen. On your left now you can see the Abbey Cemetery. It was built in 1844 because the Abbey had run out of land to bury people. It's now a nature reserve. The last person buried in the cemetery here was the actor Arnold Ridley, who played the character of Godfrey in the TV programme Dad's Army. Look carefully through the trees now to your right. You may spot a manor house and a church. The church is of St Thomas of Becket, built in 1499 by Prior Cantello, and the manor house is Widcombe Manor House. And to your left there are llamas, yes, llamas there up on the hillside. And Widcombe Manor was for many years the home of the Fry family, Quaker engineers, and the first manufacturers of chocolate in its solid form, for which we're all extremely grateful. To your right now, rising up like a cliff, you'll see this very tall crescent. That's the Widcombe Crescent. It was built in 1805, designed by Charles Holcourt Masters. It's different from all the other crescents of Bath because the backs of the crescent look out over the views. With all the other crescents, the frontages look out over the views. Ralph Allen's tramway ran down to the bottom of the hill here, where there was a wharf, and the stone was unloaded by stonemasons, worked on, and the stone was unloaded onto a huge crane and loaded onto barges and taken into Bristol, and carts and taken into Bath. The only other place where you'll see a large amount of buildings made out of Bath stone is strangely Cape Town in South Africa, and that's because in Bristol it's loaded onto the slave ships headed for Africa and used as ballast. And to your left now you can see the first workmen's cottages to be built in Europe, built in 1734 by Ralph Allen stonemasons, and you've got the pub opposite. All along the main street here, it's all shops with 2 pubs. Originally it was all pubs, and most of Widcombe was pubs, and that's because in Bath everything closed down in the 18th century at 11 o'clock. So gentlemen got a ferry boat across the river for a night of all-night drinking and other activities here in Widcombe. Just here you can see the Ebenezer Baptist Church, built in 1820 in this pretty strawberry Gothic style. And on all 4 sides of its roof there are quotations from the Bible. Now, at this point, the Kennington-Avon Canal descends down through a series of 7 locks to meet the River Avon. And to your right now, you can see the deepest lock of the Kennington-Avon Canal. It's 18.5 feet deep. And here you can see it again just here. And to your right now, you can see again more of the locks where, as the canal descends down to meet the River Avon. And just to your right now, you can see a medieval mill. That's the thimble mill, where they used to make thimbles and bobbins that were used in the wool weaving trade in Bath. And on your right now, you'll see this green bridge. That's the Halfpenny Bridge. And you can see the Halfpenny toll booth on the end of it. It was the site of a terrible accident in 1877. 200 people were standing on the bridge waiting to pay the toll, and the bridge collapsed, killing 10 and injuring 60. Now on your right now you can see the Great Western Railway line. It's built by Isambard Kingdom Brunel. It ran from London to Bristol and was completed in 1841. And the railway line was originally built in broad gauge, 7 feet wide, which Brunel felt would give a much smoother, faster ride and turn around corners better. And it lasted for 50 years, so eventually it had to convert to standard gauge, 56.5 inches, to connect to the railway networks of the period. And just ahead now you can see the Bristol River Avon. Avon was the Celtic word for river, Afon or Avon, which is why we have so many river Avons in this country, 9 in total. And River Avon means river. To your left now you can see the original factories and warehouses of the city, now residential and office accommodation. The building with the creeper on it, that was originally a granary. And the cream building to your left, that was the Camden Flour Mill. And the pink building to your left with the high arched windows, that was the corset factory of Charles Bayer. And the slogan of the factory was to enclose the large, support the small and uplift the droopy. And if you're interested in corsets, do visit the Museum of Fashion, which is incorporated into the Georgian Assembly Rooms. And just over there you can see the Technical College. Now in the old Technical College in Bow Street, that's been made into a luxury hotel. When they dug around it, they found loads of Roman remains, including a huge hoard of 17,500 Roman silver coins. Oh, look at that classic car. What's that then? Oh, MG. That's quite something, isn't it? And now in the Roman Baths Museum. It's thought that a Roman businessman buried these coins in 410 when the Romans left, hoping to come back again a few years later and start up in business, but sadly for him that never happened. Here you can see this amazing shopping centre. This is the Southgate Centre. It's been completed about 9 years, and just here to the left you can see, oh, it's gone. Right, so there you go. We're approaching the end of the tour. I hope you've enjoyed it today. You may wish to pop something in the tin as you leave.
Right everyone, we are going to make our way back to Cardiff Central. We're going to run the 1536 Great Western Railway service to Cardiff Central, calling at Bristol Temple Meads, Fountain Abbey Wood, Newport and Cardiff Central. We'll make our way back to Cardiff Central now after having a nice tour of Cardiff. I meant having a nice tour of Bath. Is our train? This is 158 950. We are now in Bath. through the Severn Tunnel.
Okay everyone, it is time to end this part, which is part 4 of Traveljack's Journeys. In this part we went to Bath. We did the second of the 2 trips through the Severn Tunnel. Now we jumped on the 0930 Great Western Railway service to Portsmouth Harbour. We took that one as far as Bath and we called at Newport, Severn Tunnel Junction, Felton Abbey Wood, Bristol Temple Meads and Bath. That was a refurbished Class 158 959 Great Western Railway one. My first time going on the Great Western Railway refurbished Class 158. Whereas there we jumped on the Bath City Sightseeing tour buses. Very nice, showing back the weather, a bit of rain, but in the afternoon it cleared up. And then we came back on 158 950 Great Western Railway service on the 1334. Great Western Railway service to Cardiff Central, and that called at Bristol Temple Meads, Felton Abbey Wood, Newport and Cardiff Central. That's it from me. Coming up in the next part of Traveljack's Journeys, part 5 will be the final part of this episode. It is the journey back to Telford. But we are starting by doing valley lines. The plans are we are going to go down to Bridgend via Barry. I was going to do that in part 3, but because we didn't have time we didn't do it. When we get to Bridgend we plan to go to Maesteg, and we're going to catch a train from Maesteg back to Cardiff Central, and when we get to Cardiff Central we're going to head up to Merthyr Tydfil. Have a bit of time at Merthyr Tydfil, then we're going to head back down to Cardiff Central for the final time and to do a final train spotting session. And then after a bit in Cardiff Central we're going to be catching the 1716 Arif Transverse Premier service to Shrewsbury. And when we get to Shrewsbury, jumping on a Class 158 to go back to Telford Central. That's it for me. You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Details are coming up next. Bye for now, and I'll see you in the morning at Cardiff Central.
Still to come on episode 8. That's coming up in the next part of episode 8.